Welcome to the Cooking Chat Food and Wine Podcast. Cooking Chat focuses on tasty recipes that get better with wine. On the podcast, we explore ideas for cooking with seasonal ingredients and wines to pair with them. You'll meet producers involved with the local food system, winemakers, and more. Today, I'm joined by Ryan McGuinness, the Beverage Director at the acclaimed Shipwright's Daughter in Mystic, Connecticut. Ryan has worked with wine programs at top restaurants in Dublin and New York City, and now he brings that experience to a restaurant deeply focused on local seafood, sustainability, and delicious seasonal cooking. Well, hello, Ryan. Thanks for joining the Cooking Chat podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to this conversation after having had a delicious meal with some excellent wine there a few months ago. But before we get into that, let's get a little background on you. How did you first get interested in wine?
I took a little bit of an odd route to the wine world. I'm a chemist by school, and I really wanted to get into like laboratory chemistry. And very quickly, after a brief stint at Pfizer, I realized that the lab was not for me.
Okay.
And I was just working at a restaurant locally in my hometown in Westport, Connecticut. And for some reason, I don't know, I just took to the intrigue, I think, of how a very simple product at the end of the day can have so many different expressions. So I took a trip out to Napa with my dad, and that was it. Pretty much fell in love with it there. So moved to New York City, got into an awesome sommelier program at the International Culinary Center, which is, I believe now is French Culinary Institute, and walked into Bethany with a resume in hand and zero fine dining experience. Wow. And said, if you teach me, I'll learn. And that was pretty much how it kicked off.
Great. And how did you wind up at Shipwright's Daughter?
That's actually a funnier story. My dad lives up here, and I was living in Ireland, in Dublin at the time, working in a different hospitality group over there. And he took me to this restaurant for dinner, and we had a fantastic meal. And I was in the process of deciding to move back to the United States, and then I saw an ad for a restaurant manager for Shipwright's Daughter, and I said, that I had a great meal, why not? And lo and behold, here we are a couple of years later, and I couldn't be happier, to be honest.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, it's nice the way things work out sometimes.
Yeah.
So we made reference. I know probably a lot of folks listening have heard of Shipwright's Daughter. I know there's been some great recognition, well-deserved. But for anyone that's new, really unfamiliar with it, can you give us the high level, a minute or two,
Sure. What
the Shipwright's Daughter is all about, the cuisine and the focus?
Yeah, I think what makes this place so special and so unique is its focus on hyper-local seafood and produce. And I know that can be kind of a generic term these days when everything's farm to table, right?
Right.
But we take that extremely seriously, so much so that the only fish that we use is from within 11 miles. All the seafood comes from Stonington Dock, a little bit from Westerly, but 99% is from here. And so much so that we even feature the local fishermen on our menu and highlight the boats that bring us that stuff. And I think that precision and that steadfast nature is what makes this place so much fun to come to and revisit, because there's always something new here. It's amazing working with Chef David and having that ability to connect to the actual people that go out and fish for what's going to be on your plate. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's great. You definitely get that feel, looking at the menu and being there. Also, I definitely encourage people to check out I've noticed the Instagram feed definitely has a lot of, brings you a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have some fun.
In through that. Next time I go, I'll have to be more daring. I got swordfish, which is not exactly off the beaten track.
Whenever we get like a really beautiful fish like that, like a whole swordfish or a whole bluefin tuna, there's a buzz in the restaurant, and there's a buzz because like that's going to be on the plate in a couple hours, which is awesome.
Wow. That's great. So how do you think about creating a wine list to supplement that seafood and that commitment to local? Obviously,
Sure.
limited local wine available. A little bit.
There's a little bit of local Connecticut wine. I mean, not my go-to at all times, but the program that we run here is meant to be dynamic, much like the menu itself.
Yeah.
I don't focus on one region and deep dive into that. I think there's a whole beautiful world of wine out there, and it's worth exploring. Much like we explore what the ocean gives us in the food program. I think the same ethos should be taken to the wine program. So we try to keep some of the wine static, like big, nice centerpieces that you can always rely on, like Burgundy, for example, right? We don't have to break the mold when it comes to Burgundy. But I do like to keep about 60% of the list in motion and always something new to explore. I think as the menu changes, the wine menu should be reflective of that change as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And that makes it interesting for regulars, I'm sure, to be able to...
Yeah, there's always something new. There's always something kicking around in the cellar. And that's really the most fun part of it is I think wine looks better in a wine glass than it does in a bottle,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I thought what we could do next, I could mention a little bit more about that swordfish I got. And I know it's been a couple of months. You might not remember. You might just use that as an example to think through how you help a customer select a wine. So I got a swordfish preparation, had the local mushrooms, which is interesting. I do love mushrooms on like salmon. I've never had it with swordfish. It was awesome. But I remember chatting with you, and you kind of walked me through, and we landed on a Northern Rhône red that was excellent. But maybe
sure,
walk us through a little bit how you help people select.
Yeah, that preparation of swordfish, I remember distinctly because I enjoyed it myself.
Yeah.
It was a 5-spice swordfish done with roasted seacoast mushrooms and a little salsa verde as well.
Right.
And for me, that screams like if we were going to do a steakhousey dish, that's our best interpretation of it.
Right.
And nothing really goes better with steakhousey dishes than smoky, spicy Syrah from the Northern Rhône.
Yeah.
And I think people can or should take a little bit of a flyer on red wine with fish a little bit more often.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. And it worked out beautifully. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah, you want to jump to that a little bit. I think, people have sometimes, I understand somebody's just kind of starting to learn about food and wine pairings, okay, maybe there's some white wine with fish, that sort of thing. But can you speak a little bit to, pairing wine with seafood and maybe how, having a broader range of options might come to be beneficial?
I think I always liken it to like an artist palette, right? You're going to handcuff yourself a little bit if you only use 2 colors, right? You should use the whole breadth of the palette available. And when you do food and wine pairing, it's not as subjective sometimes as I think people liken it to be. It's, there are certain dead fast rules. Sometimes, you wouldn't want to pair an ultra acidic white wine with something spicy. You're going to hurt yourself a little bit. So I think when you have to look at the dish, for example, when David puts one out, right? It's like, what are the main flavor components? What are the textural components of the dish? Swordfish is a meatier style fish. So open up that toolbox that you have and think about wines that go with meaty dishes, right? And then how is it cooked? Is it seared or is it raw, right? If you're applying heat to a protein, you need a wine that also has a little bit more robustness to it. If it's a very delicate butter poaching or even a confit, for example, right? You'd want a wine that's a little bit softer and more nuanced in that capacity. Yeah. I think anything that sees a grill or a plancha, you can start opening up your red wine toolbox a little bit.
Right. And the results can be great. Yeah, definitely. Especially if it starts getting chillier. It's nice to be able to go for a healthy seafood dish nonetheless. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to open up that Napa Cap, live a little.
Yeah, there you go. So, one thing I wanted to ask you about too is for people who are, how to navigate the dynamic of, so I'm sure the servers probably get trained to a certain degree on the beverage menu, the wine selections. for somebody who does want to go and to suss out, is there a som here? I mean, if you go to a place like Shipwright Star, you sort of expect there's probably someone in the mix. Some restaurants, obviously there is not. Tips for, encouraging people to, ask and, you don't want to be like dissing the server's knowledge, but
no,
what do you recommend to people?
It's a tough thing. I think that's actually probably the most difficult part about becoming a sommelier is managing that guest experience and engaging their comfort and their depth of knowledge. Wine can be very intimidating, and my main job is to make it not that. At the end of the day, I want to pour you something that's delicious, that you find delicious, and also something that's complementary to what you're having.
Right.
The elephant in the room is always the price tag, I think.
Sure.
And that, I don't believe that wine should be gate-capped in a sense by what it costs. Part of my job is to put delicious things on the menu at varying price points.
Right.
So I think what I try to do when I'm speaking to my guests is remove the costs to start. What are you in the mood for? And we can gauge, what do you like to drink normally? Are you feeling a little bit more adventurous? These are questions that help the experience become a little bit more palatable rather than just, what are you looking to spend tonight? I always think that's a little bit of a rookie question. It's not about what it costs. It's what do you want to drink? Yeah. Engaging that sense, everyone starts out as a rookie wine purchaser, no one's born a samurai sword maker, Yeah. And so I find it a really rewarding portion of my job to be able to pour something that people don't expect. Like, for example, the other day I was opening a Zino Mavro from Greece for someone and likened it exactly to like an old Barolo, right? But you're taking a very classical wine region and just bringing them somewhere else. Right. And you can get some great value when you 100%
expand the map rather from where you're getting the wine.
Right. I mean, Old Barolo isn't exactly, a Tuesday evening dinner bottle of wine in most cases. Yeah, right. Great. And so obviously you've started sharing some good tips in terms of thinking about the pairings, with food at the restaurant. Thinking about maybe two scenarios. Somebody's listening to this and they're kind of brand new. Maybe they like to cook at home, but really maybe only just go for one or two default kinds of wines. Some simple steps somebody could do at home to try to create some good pairings. I think the first thing to do is start with what kind of experience am I trying to have? Right? If I'm going to go home and I'm going to make myself big bowl of pasta, right? What's the sauce? Is it a butter sauce? Is it a cream sauce? Is it tomato based? Right? And once I start building those concepts together, then I'm going to start thinking about what I'm drinking. Yeah. And I think once you get into the red sauces or the meat-based sauces, right, we're talking about red wine. Now, what kind of experience with the wine am I trying to have? Am I trying to have something that's fun and snappy and lively? Right. Then I'm going to go more to my lighter bodied style wine. So my Pinots, my Schiavas, my Teraldigos from Italy, right? Like you're a little bit more fun, fresh and clean styles. Or if I'm going with something hearty, like more of a ragu style sauce, right? Now I'm going to break out some of the richer styles of wine. Right. And then once I've decided that, now I'm deciding what kind of flavor combinations am I looking for? Am I looking for the wine to bring in a spicy component to help the dish? Or is the dish extremely savory? So I want something a little bit fruitier from the wine. Yeah. These combinations are what, you base pairing on. And then once you've come to that conclusion, now you get the fun part. Now you get to go pick the wine, right? Yeah. And I think that should be like almost like finishing the dish with your wine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a nice way to put it. Yeah, nice. All right, those sound like pretty accessible tips. Definitely.
Yeah, I think.
Chance to pair match at home, or are you always...
all the time? I mean, cool. All right. I definitely take my work home with me. I think having a good local wine shop around there and picking the brains of the people that work in that wine shop about why they selected those wines. Why are they on the shelf? They're not on the shelf for no reason. Someone had to consider them. Yeah. And then also, you don't need to spend a ton of money, especially if it's an at-home scenario, right? Take a flyer on something you've never drank before for $20. Yeah. or pick something you've never had, or pick something that's reliable. It's really about how much fun you have with it at the end of the day. It doesn't always need to be this mental exercise or deep dive into what's going on in the glass. I enjoy tons of Rioja. Rioja is fantastic, but it's always not this big mental task.
Right. Yeah. It's good to simplify and make it
simplify it and have fun with it, and be confident in saying, I don't really like this, so I'm going to try something else. It's that experimentation, which is what opens the doors for a more expanded vocabulary with wine.
Right. Good. Before I ask my final question, I like to ask all guests, is there anything else you'd like to share that we haven't covered yet?
Let's see. That's a good question. I think wine can be very intimidating, and it intimidates me too. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much. I enjoy the investment of time into sour grape juice. Wine tells a big story. It tells the story of where people have gone and human migration, and wine seems to follow where we go. Right. And the ability of a very simple beverage at the end of the day to encapsulate what happened over the course of an entire year is so unique, and it's why it's such a revered beverage, I think, amongst cultures in general. So people that want a good history lesson or want to hear a good story about a time and a place, wine is for them, for sure. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, that really does make it a whole nother beverage that it's really probably can't compare in any other beverage that I can.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well said. So the question I like to ask wine-focused guests on the show is there a surprisingly good food and wine pairing that you've had and enjoyed that you'd encourage people to try either at home or at
Let's see. My girlfriend and I the other night, we did make a really lovely bean stew.
Okay.
Very simple, but cream based with tons of veggies and whatnot. And I had an amazing Loire Valley white based off Chenin with it.
Oh, okay.
From Samour, and it was stunning simply because the Chenin itself is rich and textured, without being sweet. And I think that kind of lanolin quality to it, that almost beeswaxy quality in the wine, was awesome with a bean stew. I had so much fun with it.
Wow, that sounds great. Yeah, I would think I do like Chenin-based grapefruit. I wouldn't wines, but I wouldn't think of it with a hearty stew like that. So
yeah, it was just in the cold weather. Both felt warming and satisfying at the same time, and the textural comparison between beans and Chenin Blanc was a really interesting play in weight without having to involve an oak component, which normally you would find your fatness from. But yeah, it was really, really delicious. Awesome bottle of wine.
Great. Well, to close, let's just give some practical tips for people who want to get to Shipwright's Daughter and follow the work of the restaurant and your work.
Yeah.
So, I know it's a popular restaurant. Tips on how making reservations. That's some of the basics.
We always encourage a reservation for sure. We are open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday for breakfast and dinner, and then on the weekends we do breakfast, brunch, and dinner.
Yep.
We're on Open Table, so easy resource there. And then I make myself available as well to help anyone with reservations. My email is very simple. It's just ryan@shipwrightsdaughter.com. So I encourage anyone listening to reach out to me for a reservation. I'm happy to facilitate that for you. And then also follow along with us on our social media accounts. We're always doing something fun over here. There's always something. There's always something going on.
Yeah, cool. Well, excellent. Well, this has been a delight to learn a little bit more about you and the wine program at Shipwright's Daughter. And I definitely encourage people to get to Mystic, Connecticut if you don't live there, and check it out. It's definitely, as we were saying before, it's a beautiful town, and it's a great, nice to, if you like wine, it's nice to anchor a little getaway in a great restaurant experience.
Yeah, we actually I don't know if you know this, we opened up a little sister restaurant next to us called the Mystic Fish Can. Oh. And it's all designed as really fun, same hyper local attitude, but a little bit more grab and go in its style.
Oh, interesting.
Super delicious food. I I have most of my lunches over there, to be honest.
Oh, really?
It's fantastic. But yeah, if anyone's in the area and wants to come down and really get the full Shipwrights and fish camp experience, I encourage everyone to.
Great. Well, thanks, Ryan. It's been great. And I encourage
You're very welcome.
to check you out there. All right.
Sounds great. See you soon.
Bye.